How's it going, everybody? I figured I'd show a little tutorial on how I've set up Guild Wars 2 to be able to play it with a controller. Right here I've got a really ganked up old Xbox 360 controller. It's wired, and I've been using this for just about a year because, I don't know, this is one of the games where I always thought it'd be really neat if I could play it with a controller, considering there's not that many skills. At least there wasn't, I mean, until they added the mounts and everything. So I'll just kind of hop in and show you how I've got everything, and just show you what the gameplay is like, and just to kind of get a glimpse of what it looks like whenever you're fighting. To just be able to play the game and not have to worry about mouse clicking or misclicking stuff or anything like that. Hey, no. Okay. Yeah. So here's the layout. There's 4 different sets that you can use. We've got, this is like my interface set. So if you want to be able to interact with the user interface and go to like your backpack and all that, this would be the set you would want to use. And to swap back, it's as simple as clicking what I have here is the back button, or like the select button on a PlayStation controller or something like that. It will change it over and allow you to pull up your inventory. And these are the way I have the keys mapped inside of Guild Wars, the controller mapping, or not controller mapping, but key mapping. So interface, this is your hero panel, pushing Y, space is jumps, B is escape. So I still have movement. Here I've got it set to WADS, so that way you have inside, you can turn and stuff while on the move doing stuff in your backpack if you wanted to. Otherwise, like, you would want to, on your normal controller pattern, use your strafe keys, Q and E. That way, whenever you're moving, you've got this movement here. Instead of like actually turning your character, it's strafing. So that way your look key, or your look controls, is all done by your right controller stick. So we'll start here. So this is like the main hub. This is what you'll run the entire time. And the reason why is because this is your like main action, movement, skills, and stuff like that. And as you can see, we've got the strafe keys. Your look binds are all right here. On mine, I think this is a really convenient way and logical setup. I have my F1, 2, 3, and 4 all on the D-pad. For the F5 ability, I have it set to pushing in on my left control stick. And if we go on this other side, so we can kind of just look at these as we go through. So F1 through F5, they're all on this side. And then click on the left control stick. For your skills on this side, this side, you've got your 1 ability, which I've set to my right trigger. That one just makes sense because that one doesn't have a cooldown. That's your number 1 ability anyway, so you're spam clicking that while you're waiting on other cooldowns. For the way I like to think about this is that you have 1, but then you have 2, 3, 4. And 2, 3, 4 are mapped to those X, Y, and B buttons. And then pushing in on the right control stick, that's 5. I always have start set to my heal ability on all these sets. If I'm wanting to get to this side of the skill bar, I would hold down my L1 or LB, LB on an Xbox controller, L1 on a PlayStation controller. And what this will do is, while I hold it, it will change the key or the mapping for these buttons. 7, 8, and 9 skills are X, Y, and B. And then my 10th skill, or 0, is now the right stick. This is all while holding the LB button, or L1 if you're on a PlayStation controller. So I guess that kind of wraps up the skill usage. I also have my left trigger set up to, I have my keybind set up in Guild Wars 2 for dodge is V. So that one just makes sense to me. It's such a huge part in this game, and how you'll want to fight and stuff like that, to constantly be able to dodge any big attacks, or if you're getting mobbed or whatever. Can you get me Diet Cherry Dr. Pepper, please? Thank you. Now for like interacting with things, if I need to like loot or anything like that, I'll hold down the right button. This gives me like action skills, and some of these I didn't really have anything that I could just think of, so I just mapped stuff to it. So like if I want to change weapons, that's the tilde key or whatever that one is, and I map that to Y because that's a pretty universal like weapon swap. But this is while holding the RB button. That way it uses the number 1 set over here. So while I'm holding RB, I can just click X to loot stuff as I'm running by, or pull out my mounts, which is I've mapped on mine to each mount specific to a keybind. So like the numpad 1, numpad 2, 3, and 4 is all mapped to the different mounts. Other than that, I don't really use like the minus key. I don't even know what that does, to be honest. But like the escape key, if I'm needing to exit out of a discussion or something pretty quick, like when you interact with somebody and you don't mean to, that's a pretty easy way to get out of it, or like a merchant or something. Back to the user, I call this basically the user interface set. So like here, it slows down my mouse a little bit. You can set the sensitivity and all that inside of the settings here. You can actually just map all the arrow keys or the mouse normal stuff, and it will map all these here for you. You can go into settings. If you have a controller that has like pretty bad like reset position, like it kind of stays one direction or something, you can set the dead zone, which is this red stuff. You can either increase or decrease, and that will kind of take care of accidental like looking around if this is the stick you're on. And it will kind of help with that if you're having issues with that. If I want to go in here and change how fast the mouse movement is, I can increase or decrease this. So this is my user interface one, and I want it to be slower than my like action mode is what I would call it. So that way I can actually like interact with a backpack items or stuff like that. If I want to like zoom in or zoom out, I have the scroll wheels set to the D-pad here on up and down. If I want to pull up like the auction house, not auction house, you know what I'm talking about, the Black Lion Trading Company. So if I want to pull that up, the auction house, I can just easily click on that. Sissy? No. Auto run, I think I have set to C. I can just, no, that's not even the C, that's a bracket. What does that do? Oh, this is PvP. Okay, cool. My C key is set to my auto run. So that way if I'm on the interface and I want to just keep my guy going, I just push in on the left stick and it'll keep on going. This is my right click, that's my left trigger, and left click is set to right trigger. So if I'm doing stuff inside my inventory and I want to deposit all materials, I just use my control stick and click button. If I want to left click on it, I'll use the left trigger, and I can sell these at the trading post pretty easily. And that's pretty simple. And just for an easy way of getting to in and out of screens, I use the escape key is set to LB or B. So that's pretty much wraps up how I've mapped the controller, and this is called Xpadder. It's a very good software. I highly recommend this because it just works really well. Now, as far as like being able to use this in game, if I didn't have this other piece of software for looking, you can have it mouse click, like right mouse click, and then the direction of the mouse movement. But when I first started trying this out, what I would do is it would like move the mouse and then like never reset back to center. So if I was going to place like a AOE field or something, like it would be way over here on this side of the screen or something. But this always resets it back to center, which I love that. And I'll show you what this is. This is called GW2CM, Guild Wars 2 Combat Mode. Okay, so this is Guild Wars 2 Combat Mode. I don't use any of these. You can change like the crosshair size. Like while I was in the game, you've seen the crosshairs in the middle of the screen. You have options in here you can change. Change how big it is, change the style to where it's either a cross, an X, or a circle, and you can change the color of it. So this right here, crosshair height, this will like allow you to manipulate where it is in the center of the screen. So if you have like a taller character or smaller character and you want it to like, say for instance you have a ranger, oh man, I need to play the game more, who is an Asuran, there we go, you could change the crosshair height. I don't mess with that because it doesn't really seem to bother me, but like if you're a ranger, it will actually shoot pretty much dead on where that reticle is. So that's pretty cool if it's something you're into. That pretty much explains this. I will, if I can find them and if it's okay, I will put the links in the description and you can go check those out. Alright, so back here inside of Guild Wars, okay, so here's my options if you want to look and take note. We'll scroll through here. So you can change the rotation speed and all that stuff if you want to change your sensitivity in game. So ground targeting is set to normal. And what this does is it basically says you can click twice. So you push it once, choose where you want to put it, and then push the AOE skill again. This is while you hold it, it will be there, and then once you let go, it will cast the spell. This will instantly cast right when you click it, and I guess wherever you have your mouse. I've turned off double tap to evade. That way it doesn't affect me whenever I'm using the controller's stick movements and stuff like that, because you know you got to move around a lot. You don't want an accidental evade whenever you're in the middle of a fight, especially PvP. Save that endurance and stuff like that. Auto targeting I've got turned on. This will automatically select a target, especially like the one that's closest proximity to me that I'm kind of looking directly at. This is very helpful with the controller. That way you're not just shooting at nothing, and it also allows you to reallocate like which one you're shooting at. I leave this on. I like this. It prevents you from running through your target as you're attacking them. So this is super helpful. This will basically reset your position. If you're casting down an AoE, it will only go to max distance. It won't show you the red where you can't cast it. It will just put it out as far as it can be. Even if you had your mouse way up here, it would only be down in like where it could actually go to. So I've turned this on. I was playing without it, and I thought this was really helpful. You know, if you're looking around and running around and you want to use an AoE attack, if I had that setting turned off, let's go ahead and turn it off. This would go basically where my reticle is in any direction. I like to actually use this option because it will automatically like lock onto that and place it right under its feet, which is super helpful when playing with the controller. And that goes for all classes, especially like elementalists who have quite a few AoEs or mesmers or anything like that. Or this class where you've got, when you're wielding the staff, pretty much all your skills are AoE effects. So back to the keybinds in here. Movement keys are pretty much all the same here. All my skill keys are the same. I haven't touched any of them. If you see anything here that would be beneficial, go ahead and be sure to jot that down and use it. This is all interface. I don't believe I've changed anything in here. I might have on a few things. I used to play World of Warcraft, so like I think C was my auto walking ability or auto run. And that's pretty much that. So here is your mount stuff. So mount, dismount. This is your standard key for whichever mount you have selected here. I've mapped each one of the numpad keys to each mount. This was a good open spot for me to set these and allow me to use it with the controller. So I can map the buttons to these keys. Very cool. Everything else is not necessarily anything I have touched or used, I don't believe, so that pretty much wraps it up.